Dr. Delia Saenz. Professor Delia Saenz is Associate Professor of Psychology at Arizona State University. Her doctorate in social psychology was awarded from what? Princeton University in 1987. She served previously as an assistant professor of psychology at the University of Notre Dame before moving to Arizona State University. Dr. Saenz is also a research professor at the ASU Hispanic Research Center, and during her tenure at ASU, she has served in multiple administrative roles in a variety of senior leadership positions, including Vice Provost for International and Institutional Inclusion, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, and the list is so long that I'm going to cut it short. But let's just say she's a senior leader for our university for many, many years. She is also a member of the editorial board for Small Group Research. In addition, she serves as Diversity Director for Quantum Energy and Sustainable Solar Technology, an NSF DOE Engineering Research Center. You got to ask about what all of that means. Her research over the past 15 years has focused on tokenism, intergroup processes, acculturation, social identity, and family dynamics, and has included both laboratory and field research. Beyond her contributions to scholarship and administration, Dr. Saenz has been recognized at both institutional and national levels for outstanding contributions to the teaching and mentoring of countless undergraduate students and graduate students of color. On top of all of those amazing credentials, she's the real deal. She has been a mentor and dear colleague and friend for many, many years. Let's give some serious VIP welcome to Dr. Delia Saenz.
Okay, wow, with an introduction like that, I'm so worried that I'm going to disappoint here. But thank you very much for inviting me to come out and speak with each of you. Each of you is very important to this institution. So I truly am delighted to be able to talk a little bit about my own educational experience, but along the way also about the topic of culture. So let me begin by just introducing myself the way I normally do in a group, whether it's a group of students or a group of people that are going to evaluate my grant or colleagues at a professional conference. And I simply say that I am a Texan by birth. Anybody here from Texas? I'll clap for Texas. Okay, so I'm a Texan by birth, I'm a social psychologist by training, and I'm a Chicana by heritage. And so part of the heritage is sharing where I come from and what I like about my culture with other people. And culture is defined in many different ways. It can be, in fact, your ethnicity or your racial group, but it also can be your socioeconomic group, it can be your political group, it can be whatever you find is valuable and defines your core values. And so as a function of my culture, I'm going to teach you a couple of syllables along the way. So I'm going to start with one syllable, and that syllable is C. So would you repeat that? C. Okay. The relevance of that syllable will become evident later. But let me just tell you that in fact I was born and raised in poverty. I grew up in South Texas in Cameron County in a city called Brownsville on the southern tip. It has one of the lowest per capita rates in the country. I didn't know at the time that I was poor, but it became very clear as I got older. So I grew up in a 3-room frame house. And that's not to be confused with a 3-bedroom house. It literally had 3 rooms. We had a living room, we had a bedroom, and we had a kitchen. And then the bathroom was attached to the kitchen. We didn't have running water until I was 10 years old. So every day we would take these buckets outdoors, go to the spigot, fill them up, and bring them inside. And that's the water we would use for cooking, for drinking, for bathing, etc. And so oftentimes we would have to put those buckets on the stove, heat the water until they boiled, until the water boiled, so that we could use the water for bathing, etc. But education was still very important in our household. And it wasn't because of family history. In fact, my dad completed the 5th grade, and my mother completed the 8th grade. When I was in high school, my mom went back and got her GED, and I was so proud of her. We all were very proud of her. And I have to say that their own educational attainment or lack lack thereof, wasn't because of lack of intelligence. It was because of lack of opportunity. But that opportunity didn't defeating them in them any sense that their children could have a higher educational attainment. And so I have to give all honor to my mother. She is my first and most influential teacher. Of all the instructors I've had in my entire life, none has taught me more than my mom. Okay? She's just amazing. She's full of wisdom. But in addition to that, she did something very important. And that was to infuse in all of her children, me included, a love of learning. There was just no limit, she would say, to what you can learn, what you expose your mind to, what situations you enter, and what you can pull from those situations in order to make yourself a better person. And to make yourself a better person, in order to make the world a better place. So even before terms like change maker were coined, I think my mother knew in her heart that every single person on this earth has the capacity to be an agent for change. And it's simply a matter of developing yourself. My dad, again, 5th grade education, also was very influential in terms of my own educational attainment. And I remember he stressed how important it was to keep current with regard to world events and local events. Every day he read the newspaper. Sometimes it was a newspaper in Spanish, sometimes it was a newspaper in English. But I remember always seeing him holding the newspaper and reading, and it got me to do the same thing. In fact, I do that now. Although I have to say I've had to quit my subscriptions now to publications like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, because there are days where I just want to do that, and then I can't get my work done. So it's a balance. The other thing that I learned from my dad was the value of being resourceful, and that was specific to 2 things. One is whatever hand you've been dealt, whatever materials you have at hand, whatever skills you've learned, you need to work with what you've got to advance to the next level. It makes no sense to sit there and feel sorry for yourself or think, why is it that others have so much more? Because believe me, I went to a lily white school in a very expensive neighborhood, and all the houses that we passed looked nothing at all like the house that we lived in. But it wasn't for me to think about, well, why them and why not me? It was for me to think, what's my dream? What can I do? Is that the type of house I want? Is that what I want to achieve? What's important for me? So for my dad, teaching us to work with what we've got and move beyond was really important. And then the second thing I think that was very important is that he always said, you need to make connections to a lot of people. And so as I was hearing some of the values that comprise the center, I thought, wow, my dad could have designed this center. I'm kidding. No, but there was a lot of consistency in terms of what works in life. And so making those connections is really critical, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. Now, did these messages make a difference? What my mom taught me, what my dad taught me? Absolutely. In fact, I think all of the children in my family got the message right. I had 5 brothers and sisters, and again, we grew up in this one small house. And all of us went to college. And some of us even got advanced degrees. So I have 2 brothers who have master's degrees. I have a baby sister who's actually gone back to get her PhD. And I have my own doctoral degree. So whatever it was that they did with those very simple pearls of wisdom made a big difference. And so one of the things I would say to you is that you're here for a reason. You didn't get here by yourself. There was something about your context growing up. And it was your parents maybe, or other adults who were important to you, or maybe it was friends or teachers. But along the way, you've been equipped with similar pearls of wisdom. And so I want to encourage you to really think about those, embrace them, and every time you face a challenge, go back to them. Because they can give you the type of internal strength that will motivate you through those challenges and motivate you to achieve a lot. Okay, So I'll say one more thing about my mom. And one of the things that she was really good at was inspiring me to be big in my imagination. So she wanted me to dream big. She wanted me to reach for the stars. And it reminds me of a book series that I used to read to my own kids when they were little. Maybe you all are familiar with the Miss Frizz series, the Magic School Bus. And she always used to say, get messy and make mistakes. And so I think my mom had a similar approach. She said, dream big. It's okay if you make mistakes. You just pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And we really do use bootstraps in Texas. And keep at it, so don't give up. And she herself had a big imagination. I remember when I was 5 years old, she said to me, you're going to get your doctorate degree. And when I grew up and actually got into a graduate program, I thought back to that time and I thought, my God, I had no imagination, which, I mean, this is what he was talking about with regard to what is a doctoral degree. But like a good Catholic girl, I would say, of course, Mom, yes, ma'am, whatever you say. And the funny thing is, she probably had no idea what a doctoral degree was. Nobody in her family went to college. Okay? But she knew that there was educational opportunities out there. And she infused in me that potential for considering them a viable possibility. And somebody did that for you. You're in college now because there were plantings of seeds along the way. And so you're germinating those dreams right now. All right, let me pause, and I'm going to teach you one more syllable. And this one is se. So repeat, se. Okay, good. I'll have a few more. All right. I need to be very honest about it, though. When you get inspired by parents or anybody else, when you launch the career, that is not the same as knowing how to be prepared for that college career. So I did have two older brothers that went to college before me, and they were able to give me some advice and some information, but I didn't go to the same college that they did, so I myself found lots of questions when I got to college. How do I do this? How do I do that? And moreover, when I went to graduate school, I knew nobody who was close to me or related to me, my family, who had been to graduate school. So I had a lot to figure out. But guess what, folks? The tools that were inspirational early on were the ones that helped me get through. So my mom said, you've got to love learning, but in order to succeed, you have to focus on education. There are lots of distractions that come up. Parties, jobs, friends, etc. So I'm going to teach you two other syllables here that I taught to my own kids. The first one is SOT. Can you say SOT? SOT. That simply means stay on task. Okay? So despite everything that's going on, focus on your educational goals. Another one is DIN. Say it. DIN. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. So stay focused, do the task, embrace challenges, because the sooner you embrace them, the easier it becomes to take on the next challenge. Make critical connections to mentors, to faculty, to staff, to each other, because these are going to be your resourceful connections. Like my dad said, it's who you know and how you make use of your environment. So there will be VIPs in your ambit, in your environment, in your arena, but there will also be VRPs, very resourceful people. And these are the people you need to seek out, and ultimately, this is the type of person that you need to become, a very resourceful person. You want to be able to absorb wisdom and to transmit it to others. Okay, I'll give you two more things. In talking about connections, remember MAC. Can you say it? MAC. Make awesome connections. Okay. Final syllable here, again, is cultural, and I think most of you have guessed what it is, but the word is puede. So repeat after me. Puede. Okay, so we put those three together. Si se puede. So let's say it together. Si se puede. Okay, that means you can do it, I can do it, it can be done. Together we can do it. Education will open the world up for you. I have gone to the best schools, I have met wonderful people, I do a summer study abroad program in Fiji that I hope you become a part of. And I've traveled all over the world because of my education. And I know that you're going to do the same. I have complete faith in you. I know Kevin and Marcel have complete faith in you. And there are many others who also do that. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.